Terraria is a game very similar to Minecraft. Many people consider this to be the result of if Minecraft went to the second dimension. There are two modes in Terraria, single player and multiplayer. We'll be going single player, but there's a tutorial mode if you don't know how to play. Join in a single player, make a new character, or join in one if you have already made one. Design it however you like, and name it however you like. Then choose your world size. I suggest having an expert world, but normals if you're easier. You want an easier experience. Join in a Crimson world, name it, and join in the world. Gather a bunch of resources and go into the world. Go all the way to one end. Once you found a dungeon at one of the ends of the world, find an old man at night and curse him. He'll summon skeletons. Once he's defeated, go to the underworld. That's the very bottom of the world, and you'll fight it by guide voodoo demons. Once you've killed it, the wall of flesh will spawn, and he's the final boss of Precon. Once you've done that, the world will become drastically different, and you will now enter hard mode, a more difficult version of Terraria. Once you've defeated the wall of flesh, a few days a little bit will go by, and mechanical bosses spawn one of the three. The twins, the destroyer, and spells on fire. I do not have footage of the destroyer. The twins is easier to defeat if you have one player, and you are fighting them one at a time. If you want an even easier experience, I suggest having two players, and each one fighting one at a time. Or each one fighting one. Next up, fight Plantera. Plantera's bulb glows in the dark a little bit, and is found only in the jungle. You'll see a weird looking temple. After defeat Plantera, go into there. Plantera also appears on the map. If you don't know where she is, look for her on the map. Plantera shoots out thorn balls, which do a lot of damage, so if you're new to the game and didn't expect it, you'll be wiped instantly. Once you're in that temple and go in the chest and find a cell, find the altar and keep going. Destroy the head first, which will reveal the second phase. Destroy the body as quick as possible. Once you're done with that, go all the way to the one end of the world and to where the dungeon was. You'll see some new looking figures there. Kill them. The archers are the only ones who are capable of doing damage. You'll see a new figure drawing power from the chapter. Make sure to get away a little bit, but not too far, as quickly as possible. I suggest you having someone else help out with this battle, as this will be long and tedious, and he deals a lot of damage, so you have to be extra careful. He also floats. Once you defeated him, he'll drop a little machine. Keep it. You'll see some new special events have occurred. I suggest taking on the dark blue pillar first. It's known as the Stardust pillar. It's the easiest to defeat for most players, as most players will not be going through a summoner route. There are 4 pillars. Blue, or dark blue for Stardust, light blue or teal for the Vortex, range type, yellow for the melee type, and purple for the Nebula or mage type. The melee type is also known as the solar type, or solar flare. The pillar has a set amount of enemies to defeat before its force field completely goes away. I suggest having a few other players help you out in these battles because they deal a lot of damage and have a lot of health. Even if you're playing with other players, expect to die a lot, so store your money in a chest or somewhere else if you need to. For melee types, you should be fine. Now, once it's in the second phase, if you're any other type, get vampire knives and attack the pillar with them as much as possible. Just make sure to hug the pillar and destroy it. It'll keep you alive. It drops fragments. So rinse and repeat for the other type. So Vortex pillar, I suggest having a melee weapon on you and just clean them out. Even though that's not its weakness and that's its strength, it should be a bit easier if you use a melee weapon or a ranged weapon against them. These will also drop fragments, as all pillars do. Next up, the melee pillar, the most difficult one of all. I suggest you have one good melee weapon and a ranged weapon, as you will need these for the fight. If you're a summoner, get some other class, you're finished. Now for the Nebula. These ones is either the most difficult one or one of the most easiest ones, depending on how you are. If you're ranged, make sure the pillar is vulnerable and then just spam it with your weapon. So, with the weird looking crafting station you got from the cultist, make a weapon of your choosing. I suggest having a Stardust Dragon. Next up, defeat Moonlord. As you saw when I defeated the Stardust Pillar, impending doom approached. exactly 1 minute after that message appeared, the Moon Lord was spawned. This is the Moon Lord. So, he has 3 weak points in his first phase. The eye, and the top eye thing that shoots lasers. The 2 eyes on his hands generally shoot true eyes of Cthulhu's. They will only be weak when they open up, as denoted by their health bar. You want to defeat them, all 3 of them simultaneously, as when one is defeated, a true Eye of Cthulhu thingy will pop up. This true Eye of Cthulhu deals damage. He also has a set attack pattern. When it's released, you'll see it looks kind of different from the ones they shoot. That's because the eye inside his hand was released. But because they have an attack pattern, it'd be easier if you defeated all at the same time, because they have the same attack pattern. If you defeat one, well, if you get hit by one, you'll likely be missing the other one. The other ones will probably miss you, because it's the same attack pattern. So your invincibility frames will cover you. The core will open up after seeing all 3 eyes. You want to hug the nurse as much as possible, as she will be your only saving grace because you likely use your healing potions and you can't regenerate health using Vampire Knife. So make sure you have at least 20 gold ready in your piggy bank for the fight, and just make sure to... It's a game of waiting, really. As long as you heal up the nurse when you're at low enough health, and you deal enough damage, you'll survive. He may be difficult at first, but once you know how to fight him, he's easy. He is the Frost 1 of 5 weapons.